Hi, everybody. It's Craig and Griffin back with your Saturday college football show. 11 to 12. We do this every Saturday. Well, not we, Griffin and Lenny. I'm filling in for Lenny. Lenny's traveling in Arizona, I believe, or way back from Arizona. So, hello, Lenny, if you're watching.
The king of draws.
I should have got a Detroit hat and been like, yeah, I'm Detroit Lenny and like in the flesh. But big day today, Griffin. Hopefully you've been good. I want to get the kind of everything out of the way so that we can just talk sports betting picks.
Sure.
That's what we're here for. Free $60 account, new customers, DocSports.com/free60. We also have a promo code for anybody that wants to get on any of our packages. 10% off code 3day10. That'll work on any capper over at the website. So make sure you either get one of our plays or somebody else use that promo code 3day10. Sorry, I didn't have time to make up a lower third today. I kind of snuck up on me this morning's show. But make sure you get in on this. Let's talk sports betting picks. Griffin, how you been?
I've been doing good, Craig. How about you, man? How's life? Before we get into sports, how's life, man? It's been a little while since we've been on a show together.
Yeah, I mean, this business, your life depends on how you're winning. And I mean, I can't catch a break. I had the Wake Forest game yesterday. They shoot 35%, 36%, whatever it was. They win the game on the miracle. I don't know if you saw that shot, what a shot it was. But, of course, they don't cover. I mean, I have had so many of those lately where it's like I'm on the right team. They just play. They shoot bad. They turn the ball over in football. It's like, sometimes in handicapping over a couple-week period, those can kind of pile up. And the hardest thing, I don't know about you, Griffin. The hardest thing for me is just to keep clearing those out, no matter win or loss. The next day, same effort. Because if you're winning and you're riding high, before you know, you're going to crash. And just the opposite, if you're losing, you can bury yourself if you're losing. So, been doing a very good job of it, but I need a winning day today.
I hear you, man. I completely understand. It's all about the peaks and valleys, so to speak. And for me, same thing, man. When I'm winning, like I am right now, I'm doing pretty good, I will say. You feel like you're on top of the world. You feel untouchable.
Yep.
Every single play is right that you put out and everybody else is wrong. And when you're losing, it just seems like absolutely nothing could go your way. Back hook burners, I mean, you name it, left and right, missing free throws with 3 seconds left on the backdoor hook. I mean, You name it. I completely understand, man. For me, I have a loaded weekend. I will say weekends are always heavy volume for me. Cashed a 7-unit in college basketball yesterday with Charleston by the hook. So that one went my way. And the free throws last 10 seconds. So I did benefit off of that one. Today, I'm back in action on the college basketball hardwood. I've got a 7-unit at 1 p.m. Eastern time, as well as I've got my 7-unit college football play going out, as well as UFC fights, 3-pack card tonight. 3-fight card, I should say.
I kind of like those college basketball plays, but I didn't release one. I tried to, 4 plays is a pretty big, day for me. Maybe 5
Sure.
on the and there's 4 today up in college football. I couldn't find that college basketball that is like I want to put the hammer down to, today. I always think the tournaments are very tough because it's a whole nother factor what you got to figure in because you have no rest most times. Or even if you do have rest, you played, a day off. This isn't the NBA. These guys aren't used to this, and it's early in the season. So,
Right.
All right.
Let's
don't forget, if you have a question, though, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. That's what we're here for. If it's not one of our plays, if it's, obviously if we have our best bet on it, we're not going to give out what our best bet is or Griffin. So make sure you put in the comments. All right. Sorry about that.
I did want to ask you, Craig, do you prefer handicapping in college basketball, small conference or big marquee matchups?
I don't ever try to pigeon myself in there. I mean, it's kind of like year by year. Some years, like I'm all big conference, and some years I get it. I hone in on a conference. A couple years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago now. Like obviously I'm living Ohio, some part of the west part, sometimes the east part. I'm back and forth, so I know all about usually the MAC. 3 years ago, pre-NIL, pre all the transfer portal, I honed in on that conference and I killed it. I like 70%. So it just kind of
Where's the value?
Detroit Lenny's traveling today, so I'm filling in. I did not wear the Detroit gear like I should have. I should have a Detroit hat, a Detroit,
get the glasses, a Pistons hat, maybe a Lions jersey.
So make sure you put in the comments what you guys like for today, or if you have questions on the game. Let's kick us off. How about just a little free pick to kick us off, Griffin? What do you like here? Just kick us off.
Yeah, I mean, usually I'll go with anything. I mean, you give me a game you want to talk about. If you got anything in the chat,
I think the big question for me today, early,
Sure.
Missouri, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I mean, you can't come off a bigger, first of all, the SEC. I mean, they have absolutely had a gauntlet. And now they finally face a Missouri team that I actually think is pretty good. The lines come down because quarterback from Missouri's back. Is this obviously they lose, they're out. Oklahoma loses, they're out, I believe. So what do you think of this game?
So, yeah, correct. This was a one for me, actually. I keyed up on Wednesday. They had this line marked at 7.5 Oklahoma. So now that Prbula is getting the start from Missouri, that line did adjust 2 points. And it's a very interesting situational factor. Obviously, Missouri 2 weeks ago got lit up against somebody. I can't come across their name, but in their most recent matchup, Mississippi State, they went at home and absolutely lit them up. And that was with Matt Zollers. 2 weeks ago was Texas A&M. And what Missouri was able to do was their offense was terrible, but their defense was an absolute powerhouse against an undefeated Texas A&M team. That's offense has been absolutely stacked. They exploited that offense by hands, knees, whatever you want to call it. Oklahoma on the other flip of the coin. So this is where I like the conspiracy, and it's kind of a situational spot. A lot of people are going to look at Oklahoma from their most recent matchup against Alabama, obviously a huge win, which usually sets up for a letdown spot. But for me in this situation, Oklahoma, they're rolling. They're 8-2 on the season, coming off a win over one of the arguably the best teams in college football. Missouri, now with Prbula back at the quarterback spot, it kind of resets that entire offensive atmosphere. So I see that as a liability in my eyes. For me, give me Oklahoma here. I'd lay the 5.5 points at home. I love them in this spot, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, if you got on it early in the week and you got to 7.5, 2-point middle is pretty big, including the key number. So there were some people out there, I'm sure, that are playing both sides today that went 7.5 early, and they're like, oh shit, now I'm getting 5.5. If we get it 7, I can get them both. And I definitely think we're going to know right away in this game. I definitely think we're going to know right away. Obviously, both of these coaches kind of names were out there. Venable, people were saying this might be the year he gets fired. Obviously, he's done a great job. That ain't happening. Drinkowitz, he was up. People were talking about him for every SEC open job. Now he's renewed, so that's off the table. So there's a little hidden kind of hidden behind this. But remember, they still have LSU next week, Oklahoma, and that LSU team is still super talented. I mean, it's just the gauntlet of the SEC. And most of the SEC teams, by the way, this week are playing nobodies. Like Alabama's playing Mercer. This is kind of like the homecoming week. But this is the one big one in the SEC. Or another early game, Kansas, Iowa State. Iowa State early, they were undefeated when they came to face Cincinnati. Since then, the polish is off the stone, as they say. Kansas, I don't know what to expect in them. We know they can score. Can they stop anybody? What do you like here in Ames?
Yeah, this one is always tough for me, especially because I have a little bit of an emotional attachment due to the fact that I did go to Iowa State, and I've seen how it takes place at Jack Trice. I partaked in those pre-games before. I mean, all of it, the drinking, the forest, everything. And it's no joke. Whatever. It's no joke. When you go to Ames, Iowa and play at Jack Trice, that is an absolute hellhole. It's like playing at Penn State. It's crazy. But this has turned into, Antonia's mentioned it, and he said it before I was going to say it. So whatever, mark my words. This has turned into a little bit of a rivalry, so to speak. And it's interesting because you have a line at 3.5. So that hook definitely comes into play, and that causes scarcity. Total sitting at 54.5, which tells us there's an incentive that points will be scored. So Iowa State's defense should have some problems in this game. And we know about Daniels on the offensive side for Kansas. This guy runs all over the field. And for Iowa State, he hasn't been as good as I expected him to be at that quarterback position for this Iowa State team. Not him in personal, but I expected him to lead this team a lot farther than they are. Right now, they've got 6 wins on the season, but they started off a perfect 5-0. Since then, 1-4 in their last 5. Iowa State is kind of trending down right now. I hate doing it, especially at Jack Trice, but I would take Kansas here plus the 3.5 points in this one, Craig.
Yeah, I think the odds tell you all you need to know in this one.
Scary.
I think and they're bowl eligible. Once you're bowl eligible, and you're like 6. You're in that 6-win rate. You're like at this point, the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, you're kind of going to be locked into what bowl you're going to be in. It's not like if you win these next 2 games, you're going to be in, a New Year's Day bowl. So I definitely think Kansas is the play. Kansas also needs 1 win to get bowl eligible. And next week they face Utah, which is a loss. I can just say it now. Utah is for real.
Yeah.
All right. So these are the early ones I kind of jumped off the thing. I also thought Minnesota Northwestern in the Big Ten, Northwestern, five turnovers against Michigan and you lose the game. Usually you get 5 turnovers. You win the turnover battle like that. Not only do you win, but it's like you're laughing on the way home. Michigan found a way to win that game, or Northwestern found a way to lose. I guess it's just depending on how you what do you like on this game? Because I've had people talk to me on both sides of the fence on this one, Northwestern's huge letdown after. What do you like?
Yeah, this one. So, Craig, what time is this game kick off at? I'm trying to pull it up really quick just to see the line. It's at what time?
Noon.
It's at noon. Northwestern. I'm trying to pull. Oh, I got it right here. Okay, so total 41. Oh, yeah, I went all over this game. So Northwestern laying 3.5, obviously at home against Minnesota. 500 football on the season for Northwestern, and then you have a Minnesota team 6-4 on the season. And I will say Minnesota, and I like this aspect. In their most recent matchup, and a lot of people, everyone, they love to feed off of this crap, and it's everything speculated from the previous week. This is what people bet on. Public, usually, this is what I found through friends. I mean, you name it, throughout my entire handicapping industry. Now, they played last week on Friday against Oregon, so that's a very speculated game considering it was a Friday night game. That was at Oregon, and they got lit up 42-13 in that matchup, as they should have. Oregon's an absolute powerhouse beast. Then you have a 500 Northwestern team who comes into this matchup. In their most recent matchup, they played Michigan at home, lost that game in a nail-biter 24-22 final. For Northwestern, they've been hit or miss for me this season. They beat the hell out of some good teams. They played bad against bad teams, and they've pulled off upsets against Penn State. I want to say maybe Michigan State, if I'm not mistaken. But where I'm going with this is everybody's going to get hung up on the public speculation with Minnesota last week on that bad performance, and everybody's going to get hung up on Northwestern's performance against Michigan last week. Back-to-back home games for them. Lay the 3.5 points. Absolutely not. I'm on the reverse flip with this game. Give me Minnesota here plus the points. I believe they come in and get the cover in this matchup. Northwestern's 2 hit or miss. The line just shifted to 4.5 now, Craig.
One thing to note here, Minnesota is bowl eligible. Northwestern is not, and they face in-state rival at Illinois next week, which I'm guessing they'll probably be in that neighborhood of 6-7. So this is the one. That was the one thing that kind of hung me up, because Northwestern, it does mean something to go bowl it. It's not like your Ohio State, Michigan, where you get 8 wins. You're winning 7 of your first 8 games every year, so you're always bowling. It does mean something. And remember, next year, Northwestern actually opens the new stadium up. So they got that new beautiful stadium that will be open next year. So they would like to go into next year with a little momentum, and a bowl definitely helps you get to there because you get all those extra bowl practices. Everybody's talking about BYU, so we should talk about this. I was this close to going back to Cincinnati today to go see my daughter and take.
I got a premium on this one, Craig. You got to take this one.
Yeah, I went and looked through just recently on your place just to make sure. I'm just saying this. This is like the biggest game Cincinnati's probably ever had. Maybe the Rutgers game. Rutgers was number 1. This was back probably 15, 20 years ago, and before Cincinnati was what Cincinnati is now. Back when they were in the American Conference, might even been Metro Conference. I don't even know, but they beat them on a weekday game. That was probably the biggest win. But now that you're in the big conference and you're playing big boy football, this is the biggest one. And if they win this BYU game, I still think Cincinnati can end up in the Big 12 championship things if things kind of fall their way, like tiebreakers and stuff. So I kind of lean a little to Cincinnati here. I know BYU's been great, but who has BYU beat? That's really the question to me. That's the question. Do you believe in BYU? Because they looked good last week. 2 weeks ago, they only crossed midfield twice, which that's pretty hard to do. I mean, you're going to see Mercer probably do that against Alabama, right? So it's that takes something. But, every once in a while they just have Mormons to the window. So I don't know. If you're not watching Game Day, though, I turned it on a little this morning on Fox. Some fun stuff there in Cincinnati. I wish I was there. Going to be a good game. All right.
I'll come inside really quick, Craig, on that play. I like that total under 55.5.
Yeah, I could see that. The question for me is Cincinnati's defense. We've seen them I mean, going all the way back to the Kansas game when they went in and that kind of woke up, told people Cincinnati's for real. They didn't stop anybody. They just outscored them that game. And then last week against Arizona, they did get a couple key stops, but it was the sandwich game. That was the biggest sandwich game of the year for them because they had this game. They had game day coming. It was like, it was a tough one. So, yeah, I could see that.
That was my 8-unit game of the year. Just so the elephant in the room, just letting you guys know that was my play. Had all the reasons. I've already done all my moaning about it on all of my free play videos. So if you guys want to go see me flip out about the 8-unit game of the year loss, go watch.
So you had Cincinnati
this week. I had Cincy last week.
You should have messaged me. I would have told you. I would have talked you off of
that. Off it. I know, man. Damn, it was. I
know Cincinnati. I would say throw an asterisk on Xavier because I hate Xavier, so I'm always a little slanted on that one.
Sure.
But I've been pretty good with Cincinnati this year. I think I've played them 3 times. I think I'm 3-0. So I do think today I think I would play a little play on them today. USC Oregon. I want to get your opinion on this one. Do you have a play on this one? I just looked at it.
I do not. I'm pulling
This is an interesting game because USC's still alive. If USC wins this game, I think they flip and they take Oregon's spot in the playoffs. And who has Oregon beat? Like they lost to Indiana at home. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, if you lose to USC at home, I think they go from 9-1, 9-2 to out 9-2, and then USC would be 9-2 and in. What do you like here in this matchup? Double digits. It's 10, 10.5. I see some spots with 10.5. Even see some 9.5. So make sure you stick around.
Craig, that 10.5 scares the living hell out of me in this sequence. I look at this matchup and so it's tough because you look at USC performance and against Iowa. That is one of the toughest defenses in all of college football, and they put up a 26 spot against them. And then you have an Oregon team who is currently ranked 11th in the nation when it comes to total yards of offense per game. Then you look at this game, that number laying 10.5, but we have a massive total here sitting at 59.5. Every incentive is kind of guiding you. Well, if USC could score against Iowa's offense and put up 26 points, and then we have the top 11th in total yards of offense per game at home in this situation, this is going to be an offensive shootout. I'm on the other side. Give me the under 59.5 total points in this matchup. I can't back a team because I know both of these teams are able to score offensively, but at the same time, when it gets down to that second half, I feel like this is going to turn into a crunch time type of game, and it's going to be within 1 to 2 possessions, and it's going to get very, very intense, dragged out. So give me that under 59.5. I can't back anyone in this one, Craig.
I kind of think this is a correlated parlay type game that I think if USC wins, it has to be, which is the opposite what you would normally think in years past for Oregon. Usually you think Oregon over. I actually think USC and over. I think if USC, I don't think can win if it's low scoring. I think the defense for Oregon is just too good. If it's a lower scoring game, I think that means Oregon will cover. So that's kind of how I would play this game. I do think you take the points though. I do think it's going to be, I think, a great game. And remember, these guys aren't like the new Big Ten. These are the new Big Ten.
I'm at Pac-12, baby.
Yeah, these are Pac-12 guys, and I still think, like, for us traditionalists to not have a Pac-12, like being able to talk about them, who's going to represent the Pac-12, something. Like, there's one game though that I think says Trapp all over it, and everybody I know is on Iowa this week and someone answered in the comments because Iowa has played the absolute. They had USC beat. It looked like they had Indiana on the ropes. They absolutely had Oregon beat. They find a way to lose all 3 of those games. They covered all 3 of those, by the way, but they don't win. Now they face lowly Michigan State that can't go bowling now. It's coming off of where they had to vacate some wins, and now Iowa that doesn't score a lot of points is 17-point favorite. What do you think?
So listen, I like the situational spot here. So the reason being is Michigan State dealt with Penn State last week in their most recent matchup. This team, let me remind everybody, they have lost 7 games in a row. Dealing with a Penn State team, and I know everybody rips them apart because they fired their head coach. They're not on a winning season right now, whatever. They're playing everybody competitive. They're laying, it was 9.5 to Nebraska. I believe it's now 7.5 in today's matchup, I should say. And you look at a sequence like this. So Michigan State, they just dealt with top tier strength of schedule. That's one of the top components. So when you deal with a team like Iowa, it's not like there's a drop off. They're staying at that sustained strength of talent. And Iowa and Penn State actually played each other, and that was a very good game. I believe Penn State took that game out right now, high scoring game. But you look at a sequence like this, everything's kind of rolling for Iowa, other than they've lost 2 in a row, but they've lost 2 against very 2 competitive teams, Oregon and USC. And the situational home, back home, and then away again for Iowa in this situation. So they are going to have their foot on the gas in this game, and they are going to lay it all on the table, but it looks too good to be true. Every single thing that I just broke down and mentioned is every reason on why you should take Iowa in this game. And the market doesn't do favors. They don't show love. I reverse flip this play. I take Michigan State here plus the 16.5 points on that 7-game losing streak. And remember, we're not trying to catch a falling knife. We're getting 16.5 points. So I'm comfortable taking those points in this one, Craig. What do you think of this one?
Well, here's when they've played they've played 3 bad teams in as far as standings in the Big Ten. 41-3 against Minnesota, 37-0 against Wisconsin, and 38-28 against Rutgers. So they kind of have taken care of business. And this is a little better offense too than we've known in Iowa's year past. Remember, the other loss is Iowa State by 3. So I mean, every game, like, this is the what ifs. I mean, I think 12 points. They've lost all their games by a total of 12 points. That's a tough spot when, it's just one of those games where it's the what ifs, and that, the teams that, what was a couple years ago, Minnesota Vikings won every game by within like 3 or 4 points. It's like, and then the next year they didn't catch any of those breaks.
Mm-hmm.
College football, it's even more so because it's not like just get in. You got to get in the playoffs. It's just 12 teams taken in, and they're only taking 2 or 3 from the Big Ten. I think I would lean towards Iowa with that one.
I want to ask your opinion, Craig. I didn't mean, did I just talk over you?
No.
I want to ask about your thoughts on the team total with Michigan State here. Team total currently sitting at, I just lost it. And now I'm pulling it back up. All right. It is currently sitting at 13.5.
Wow. If you'd have said, hey, you got to guess I would have said 16.
43.5 game total.
I think you got to take the under. They're begging you to, at that number, they're begging you to take.
That's what I'm on. I like the under in that one.
It's I remember with the years past where Michigan State never was world beaters, but it was like at least they were like, they were like the Northwestern is this year, where it's like, dude, you don't want to play them because they're feisty and they could come up and bite you. They're not that team anymore. They got a lot of rebuilding to do there. Obviously the big game next week, and a lot of these, there's a lot of rivalry games, but the SEC, like we said, other than that Missouri-Oklahoma game, most of them are playing like, homecoming type opponents this week. Not the Big Ten. The Big Ten doesn't do that. You got Michigan facing Rutgers. No, Michigan facing Maryland. And you got Ohio State facing UCLA. Who am I? Sorry. Can't remember.
I'm looking too. No worries.
They're facing Rutgers. That was the Rutgers team. Both big spreads. Either one of these, or is this just stay away? Because obviously this is a huge look ahead spot for both of them.
Stay away from Rutgers, Ohio State for sure. I mean, just for me personally, Ohio State's always laying a huge number, and this team, I could just never get a grasp on them. They're the number 1 team in the country. The market's always kind of favoring the other teams when it comes to against the spread. But then at the same time, somehow Ohio State finds ways in the fourth quarter to capitalize on.
They're 8-1-1 against the spread, Griff.
Is it 8-1-1?
Yeah, they pushed the opening week. They're 8-1 since they faced Texas against the spread.
That's what I figured. Every time this team is laying a huge number, they find a way to close it in the fourth quarter. I can't lay the number with this team. I never have success with Ohio State betting on them whatsoever because there's never anybody that's competitive enough against them. I mean, that's just been the reality of how it's been, other than the Penn State saga with James Franklin, obviously. So I don't like that game personally at all. If you do, you could touch up on it. What was the other Big Ten game you wanted to talk about?
Michigan's favored by 14 at Maryland this week. Mm-hmm. Of course, they host Ohio State next week.
I like Michigan here. You know, coming off of a deceiving kind of win that doesn't look so good on paper. The team's won 4 straight. They're 8-2 on the year. You know, they have a lot to play for Maryland. Just 4-6 on the season. Coming off a loss to Illinois in their most recent matchup. Maryland's lost 6 consecutive games, and this has been a Terpenes team for me that I've watched them. And early on in the year, I believe they started off 4-0, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. And
might even been 5-0.
yeah, they were good, competitive, and they were beating big name schools that at the time those wins looked very solidified and good. But now that we look down the stretch, those victories that they had were actually not so impressive. So in a situation like this, even though this kind of counteracts my system where Michigan coming off kind of a deceiving win, I kind of like to fade the public in that sequence. But I think this is a game where Michigan just comes in and pipes them down by 14. I mean, you're catching 13.5. I could see Michigan winning this game by 2 touchdowns plus in this one, Craig.
I mean, I don't see him turning the ball over 5 times again. That was last week. You know, like Underwood threw. I was like, what are you looking at, guy? Like, just they were running the ball right down Northwestern's throat too, and just kind of, I don't know what they were doing, to be very honest. They did win, which is like survive in advance type of thing. Sure. But I will say this: the last time a Big Ten coach, Loxley, got the nod of approval, and they said they're going to spend some more NIL money and that kind of stuff. So he's going to be back not only the rest of this year, but next year. The last time Wisconsin did that, and they came back and they beat as a big underdog, beat Washington. Now Washington isn't Michigan's defense, so. But I'm just saying there is a little like recent history where the coach gets that nod and people are like, I don't know if that was good or not. And then the team plays for him. So we'll know how much they like Loxley, the team, if they come out and battle for him in this matchup. Let's see. I think there were some comments in here. Vandy versus UK. This one is this is a tough spot for Vandy. Has to win this one. Obviously, they're going to need some help. I think they'll probably get it with all the SEC teams playing each other. Vandy plays this week. They play their rival at Tennessee next week, which will be the biggest game probably in the history of Vandy, because if they win, they most likely, I think, will get that last SEC spot. I guess we'll see. It kind of depends on who beats who between here and then. But what do you think? Is this kind of a letdown spot? Look ahead. I mean, I don't know how you have a letdown spot when you have the playoffs like hanging in the balance.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I love this Vanderbilt team. They, especially at home on College game day, they are fast, aggressive on the offensive side. They've got a great O-line in the quarterback spot with Diego Pavia. I mean, this kid is an absolute stud baller, and he carries the swagger, everything about him. And something I like to talk about here, this is a sequence where, again, nobody loves teasing college football plays, but when there's sequences like this where Kentucky,
have you heard of Detroit Lenny?
Absolutely. We have a field day on this show. So this is a good sequence here. So if you tease Vanderbilt down to -2.5 or down 6, you get them at -2.5. That's still not the safest tease situation. I like to call this the market wipeout. If you tease Kentucky up from 8.5, you're getting them at over 14.5. So you're getting them over 2 touchdowns, which makes sense. So you look at a sequence like this, and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense typically rules. So if you tease Kentucky up, it makes more sense than teasing Vanderbilt down. So where I look at this game, that 8.5, it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's a 1.5 over that touchdown. If this thing was sitting at 7, we'd be having a different conversation. I believe that this is going to be a competitive game. I do not believe there's going to be a market wipeout that comes into play, but I believe this game lands in Vanderbilt's favor within that 13.5 to 8.5 point differential with them leading it. So give me Vandy against the spread within that gap. I believe they do cover the spread, but I believe teasers on Kentucky will get the cover in this matchup. I do not see a blowout here in this one.
I think the big question here is Kentucky. They're 5-5. They play Louisville next week. So to get bowl eligible, they either got to win this one or Louisville, which Louisville's not been playing great. So maybe they feel like they can win that one. Mark Stoops, hot as hot seat gets. I can't imagine he makes it out of that he's the coach next year there. But, it's always Kentucky. Like, who you getting? Who you getting better? Like, with all these openings, Kentucky and the SEC would be like the fifth job probably. So sure. We're going to see how they battle for their coach. I think if Kentucky comes to play, I definitely think they could even probably threaten for the win. I just don't know where this team is at. And this is a game I'm staying far away from because, like, I hate trying to figure out what an 18 to 21-year-old kid's going to do. And I mean, I just, there's better spots in my opinion than this game. Very, very dangerous spot. I would stay clear. I would say of this one if you're playing that 8.5 to 9.5 spread. That's kind of all over the spot. Make sure you look it up. Don't forget if you want in on our top plays. I know Griffin has a big day today. 7-unit play. What time does that game go?
So I have a 7-unit college football at 3:30. I have a 7-unit UFC that's getting ready to ring the bell in about an hour and a half, and then I've got college basketball at 1 p.m. today. I've got it loaded. It's always Saturdays are crazy for me because obviously I always handicap. I do CFL, which just ended, UFC, college football. And so I always have massive volumes on the weekend, as everybody in chat knows. The menu's open, baby.
So a 10% off will work on anything. This will work on the day passes that are $30 or the week passes that are $99 per sport. So 10% off code 3day10. I have 4 plays today, 3 plays tomorrow. I did hit the NC State game last night. That should have been a stronger play.
Oh, nice.
Florida State hadn't won a home or away game in 2 years, a true road game in 2 years. I should have had it money line. I don't know what I was thinking. I did like it, but it was one of those games you're looking back. I mean, they were never they did not cover. They were not covering for 1 second of that game because they were the underdog and they were down the whole entire game. Let's see. Look, comments here. Let's see if there's anything else. Houston versus TCU. Who we taking? This is like I have been all like back and forth, and these are the games that I always say like the game sitting on the bar stool that, you know, if you're in Texas, like who you taking? Because they've been very high for Houston this year, and there's been some lows. What do you like here?
Craig, this one, man, this TCU team, I'm either bang on with them or I am way off, like completely. Like last week, I was on TCU, 30-point blowout differential. Now they've got a Houston team who has been pretty competitive, I will say. And their most recent matchup, their win doesn't look that good. They beat UCF in a 30-27 final, but UCF has this quarterback, man. He's a southpaw. He's got to be one of the fastest quarterback dual threat guys I have seen in college football. He runs around the field and leads that offense himself. So I could see why Houston did give up a lot of points on the defensive side last week. That guy can just confuse the shit out of your defense.
Hey, Griffin, don't forget that also that space game. I don't know if you don't know, they do one game a year, UCF, where it's like all the kids dress up in space gear. They did the different uniforms. It is a huge game, and that was a weekday ESPN game. So it was like, you know, that was UCF Super Bowl. So that was actually a really good win for Houston, FYI.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love the tradition carries on for sure. Houston, though, the problem, man, is this team's got some solidified wins. They're 8-2 on the year. That win earlier on in the year, about 4 weeks ago, when they were playing Arizona, they were laying 1.5 points, and everybody looked at that game like, well, this doesn't make any sense. Arizona should beat the hell out of them, and they prevailed with that win in a 38-28 final. That's where all caps were on for Houston for me. I love the way this team's performed. After that, they beat ASU. After that, lost to West Virginia. That was an unexpected game. And then beating UCF. So the team's got momentum, definitely bringing it into this game. Then you've got a TCU team who just got the hell beat out of them, and a lot of people will look at this sequence and say, you know what, this is going to be a revenge spot, bounce back game. You get up like that, your mentality as a player and as a head coach sometimes doesn't bounce back that quick. Give me Houston here. I think they keep mowing teams down, and I believe they cover the spread in this one too at home, Craig.
You know, the Big 12 is really tied up at the top. Texas Tech is 7-1 on the year. BYU is 6-1. Utah's 5-2. Houston 5-2. These are all conference standings, by the way. Arizona State 5-2. Cincinnati 5-2. So there's a lot of these teams play each other, but there's a lot on the line, especially if Cincinnati beats BYU today. I mean, it is the tiebreaker scenarios. I didn't even look into it because I didn't want to jinx my Cincinnati team, but it completely opens up. So this becomes a pretty big game for Houston because if they win, they're going to be in those 2 lost teams. That it's like, it's just like the what ifs. They should beat West Virginia every time they play them. And that was a big letdown. That was a huge letdown spot. So that one is going to sting at the end of the year if they do not end up in the Big 12 standings. Somebody asked, I believe a little while ago, Pitt and Georgia Tech. I mean, Georgia Tech.
That's all you.
Pitt and Georgia Tech is like, going to be an awesome game to watch. I have no freaking clue about this Georgia Tech team. Like they have won so many games by like this. The King kid, it's
Yeah.
like it almost, I hate to say this because this is blasphemy for anybody that loves Tim Tebow, but he almost reminds me of Tim Tebow, where it's like, dude, the entire offense is built like he's their top running guy. He's going to pass.
Yeah.
It's the entire team is on top of his back. And now Pitt's coming off of that absolute beatdown at home against Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Miami next week. So it's like, Pitt went from, having a chance. I thought the outside make the playoffs to now they could finish 3 losses in a row. I'm going to lean to Pittsburgh here. I like what I've seen with this team, but this team also has lost to West Virginia on the road when they were up double digits late. That loss is kind of a little haunting them. I just think they might even cover the 2.5. It's a weird number. They might even cover the 2.5.
Yeah, Craig, for me, this one, just like what you broke down, basically the situational factor. That's where I look at this game, and I see that total sitting at 60.5. And obviously, Pitt coming off of an impressive performance last week. And then Georgia Tech is always just an offensive beast who puts up numbers. So you look at a game like this is another psychology play for me, 60.5. I'm not buying it. I like the under in this game if I had to put a play out. I don't like any side in this one. This is going to be fun to watch. One of those I don't know what to expect type of game, but I'd lean the under in this one.
So someone wants a parlay. Hey, if you go to our premium product level, hold on, I got to get this comment off. So if you go to the premium product level, not here, sorry, I don't have a guy in the back end like usually. So if you go to our premium product level, so it's $49.99, you get the level 3 for today. There is a 3-team parlay. Not only do we like it money line, with the spread, we like it on the money line as well. I think it could pay. It's 10 pays 56, so 100 pays 560. 100 on the money line, actual outright wins, probably would pay 10 to 1 or 11 to 1, something like that. So go get in on that. Just $49.99 a month. We could maybe pay rest of the year's service if we get this right. So go check it out. We also have free plays and then of course other plays as well. So make sure you check that out at the premium level here at YouTube. All right, let's. I think there was a comment in here. Sorry. Sean Higgs from my old stomping grounds. He says that Lenny must be covered the comments. I actually, he must be talking about the comment. I actually think it was Indian Cowboy that was talking in there.
It was.
It was Indian Cowboy that was talking in there. There's some of these late games I think are interesting today. Illinois, Wisconsin. Wisconsin can't be bowl eligible, but you beat Washington. I think Washington and Illinois are kind of on that same level, and everybody's just saying, "Oh, Illinois is going to kill them, -9, take them." Any opinions on this game? I always say Wisconsin, nice. Are they going to play some football finally for once there?
Yeah, Wisconsin all day plus the points. This is a situational spot for Illinois, and it's a motivational factor point, and I see that being a negative for Illinois rolling into this matchup, especially Luke Altmaier. A lot of people could critic me for this, but I'm just not sold on this kid whatsoever. He has his games where he's very good, and he has his games where he is absolutely terrible on a road in this sequence. Also, I must state, this is kind of a rivalry situation, and Wisconsin, I talk about them a lot this season. Despite the fact that they are 3-7 on the year, they are a very physical team. They don't get pushed around. Regardless, they just can't capitalize when they are on the other side of the field on the offensive side. That is why this team loses games. They have a physical defense. They play everybody tough. Despite scoreboards of them getting blown out, they beat people up. They play strong football. In a situation like this, too many points. Illinois on the road, Altmaier, not happening. Give me Wisconsin here plus the points in this one, Craig.
Yeah, I was surprised that they did what they did against Washington. You look at the Ohio State game even. But remember, Fickell is in Ohio State. He played there. He coached there. I think they weren't trying to run it up and make him look bad. So I do think they were kind of giving him a little one. So maybe look away on that one. Look past that one. Last game, I always say that the wipeout game there's 2 wipeout games today. Was 3. Sorry, there's 3 10-30 games. So you got Utah State and Fresno. I think that's a hidden game. I think Utah State's 8-2 against the spread on the year. You got San Jose State and San Diego State. San Diego State been the best team in that conference this year. And then you got Washington, UCLA. Is there any of those wipeout games that you see? Because I'm always looking for, in the wipeout game, what that means is everybody bets favorites and overs. So if one of these games goes underdog and under, it wipes out because a lot of people are having parlays, teasers. Like, is there one of those games that you think the underdog can win out of those three?
UCLA.
Wow, that'd be a big one. Although we've seen, is Nico back? That was like he didn't play last week at Ohio State.
I believe so. Do not count me on that, but I believe so.
The line kind of suggests that he's probably.
That's why I'm saying it. That the number makes it seem that way. And if I'm looking for an outright winner type of team, that's going to be UCLA at home. They've already done it against Penn State. They did it against, I believe, Michigan State, backing that game up. So if there's a team that's going to make some shit happen out of nowhere, it's going to be UCLA running up points. Washington, obviously, as we just talked about, coming off a situation where they beat the hell out of Purdue. So that kind of strength of schedules, now it goes from here to up now, which is always a negative in my eyes. In a situation like that, I love it. I'd like UCLA here. Take them with the points. Obviously, I wouldn't money line this play, but again, if I had to take an outright victory for the night game, obviously there's one game that there's a 2.5 point spread, which are going to be much safer taking that money line play.
Utah State, they almost beat. They covered last week against UNLV. That's the game I think that Utah State could win that game outright. Fresno's had some scratch your head losses this year. They've actually had some really big wins, but like obviously when you're facing a team that is 7-3 in the year, you're going to have some ups and downs. But that Utah State team's 8-2 against the spread. That's hard to pass up when you're getting 2.5, 3 points. I think Utah State could win that game of those late three. San Jose State team. That was my game 7, big game, 7-unit early in the year, and they were up 3 touchdowns late and somehow lost outright before even overtime. That one. So that San Jose State has like a dagger in my heart kind of thing. I can't ever play them again. I do not bet for the rest of my life. Kind of
It's a really weird line though. 11.5 against the San Jose State team. They're 3-7 on the year going into San Diego State where they're 8-2, and it's just 11.5.
Well, San Diego State, they've scored 17 last time, 3 times back, 24, 23, only 6 at Northern Illinois. It's great defense, but at times they don't score. So it's like they win. This is a bad Mountain West this year. So like people they're at the top of the Mountain West. Usually you're at the top of the Mountain West. And usually it's Boise, so they have a bigger name. You're talking about them as, hey, if things like Boise last year, they got into the playoff. Just not the way it is this year in the Mountain West because those teams just aren't nearly as good this year as the past year.
Well, Craig, the total is 50.5. So it's telling us there's going to be points scored in this game.
I don't see that.
There's a loophole. There's got to be a loophole.
I would of everything, I would say the under in that game looks pretty freaking good. This isn't on my card, FYI. Let's see. Somebody's on Pittsburgh. They said, yeah, I like that. If I had to play it. So if you have a question on a game, put it in the comments. We'll try to get to it. Griffin, there's this late game, Arizona State at Colorado. Arizona State are one of those teams that I said has 2 losses in the Big 12. So this is be careful because we've seen, I believe they beat Iowa State. Colorado did same type of spot where it's like everybody was like 3 points. Everybody was, Dion and company, they're not bowl eligible, but man, I'm sure Dion's like, dude, just everybody be quiet. Just be quiet, do your job. We're going to have a chance. Is this a chance where Colorado sneaks up and even wins this one outright?
Absolutely, Craig. I love how you let it off with, can they win it outright? Absolutely. That number 6.5, where do I always go? The wipeout play. That's the teaser incentive. So people are going to be looking at this Arizona State team who is currently on the season 7-3. They can tease them down to get them to -0.5 point, and all they have to do is win the game outright to get that cover. Now, Colorado, they come into this game 3-7 on the year. They have been by no means impressive whatsoever. So a situational spot like this, I think we have a bad number, and that's for a reason. I suggest and I expect Colorado probably wins this game outright. So what this does, this will kill everybody on ASU, whether they're on the money line, against the spread, or on the teaser. This is the 3-way market wipeout that I like to call it. And that's what I see going into this game. Nobody's running to the bank. Nobody's running to the window to tease Colorado to +12.5. Everybody's running to tease Arizona State down to -0.5 point. So where's the wipeout come into play? ASU bettors, clean them out. Give me Colorado here plus the 6.5 points.
And remember, they face their rival Arizona next week. So that's like always a huge game. People don't realize how heated that rivalry is. I mean, because it's on this. I always say I would not put my rival against Ohio State. All the big Auburn, Alabama. You just go down through. Everybody plays this week, this coming week. If I'm Arizona and Arizona State, I would have played it this week or the week before. So it's like, dude, everybody would be paying attention. Maybe you even get a game day there. But that's a big game next week. So how can I love Dillingham, first of all, though. Arizona State, we weren't talking about Arizona State 3, 4, 5 years ago. What he's done there, I know that's his alma mater. I know he loves it there. Dude, I would be, if I was one of those SEC teams, I'd be backing up the Brinks truck to try to get him because the dude can coach. He was this close to winning a playoff game last year, remember, with Scatterbo and company. So obviously quarterback out, that's the big issue this year. That when their quarterback was in, they were really good. But they still, like I said, they're one of those teams with just 2 losses in the Big 12. So interesting game in that one. I like your breakdown on that one. We've got just like 10, 12 more minutes before the games kick off here. Let's see. Scott's talking about the Utah K-State game. I mean, Utah's the best team that I think has no shot to get in the playoffs. Which is crazy.
I couldn't agree anymore, man. I couldn't agree anymore.
Like, dude, I guarantee Texas Tech is like, dude, we'll play anybody else in the league. They'll kill BYU again. But they do not want to face Utah because Utah's for real. It's like grown men football. I think this is I think they're right. I think it's about a 20-point win today. I mean, because to me, they're like, hey, we can't get into the playoffs. All right, we're just going to freaking murder teams. Like, what do you like here in this spot?
Easy spot for me. You don't mess around with Utah at Rice Eccles, first off. Second off, Kansas State, I like this team, Kansas State, and I believe they're a lot better than their record shows here. But with that, he goes, no. But with that being said, in today's sequence, you're going into Rice Eccles to play Utah. You are led by Avery Johnson. Now, Avery Johnson is a dual threat quarterback. Now, this kid could be absolutely dominant at times, and he could be terrible, an absolute turnover machine. I believe him going into this situation and having to deal with this Utah defense is going to be way bigger than where he could set himself up for. So I believe this is a bad spot for Kansas State. I do not believe their offense is going to be able to get off the gates. And then on the defensive side, they give up a lot of points. Give me Utah here. I believe they win this game by 3 touchdowns at home.
I mean, remember way back when I was 1-0 on the year. I want to go back to those days. Kansas State played Iowa State over in, I think it was Ireland, and Kansas State lost. Iowa State had a nice win. And his dad and brother fighting in the parking lot. It's like, dude, I want them on like Rough and Rowdy on Barstool, like the dad and brother fighting. That would be some great football.
Stop it, dude. Are you kidding me? I know exactly what you're talking.
Yeah, it would be some great TV. But I will say you're right. Talent level, he's just like, he can run, he can pass, but he's like he always seems to make the big turnover. And at Utah, with them, like, I mean, they're just mad because they kicked themselves. They literally BYU, they outplayed them the entire game and they gave that game away. And it's like that one's gonna, like, it just stuck in their crawl, and they're just murdering teams right now. I think 17.5, they're begging you to take the underdog.
Of course.
And guess what? 57% still on Utah. So it's like, I like Utah here minus the number. I would buy that half a point because, dude, there's nothing worse than they dominate, win by 17, and you lose. Call. Like, I'm not as buying the points on like 7.5, 3.5 because I feel like the better team will, can try to win that. But you could dominate a football team and win, 24-7. That's domination. And you don't cover there. That would be a tough one to swallow. So buy that.
I like that. I like that on the bigger numbers. Buy the points on the tighter ones. Don't. Yeah. I like that. New method.
Yeah, I think people give away a lot of money buying the half of points on the 3.5s to 7.5s. Because to me, it's like, dude, if you're playing a team that's 7.5 or 3.5, you have to think this team's going to win by double digits, basically. If you don't think that, then you probably should be on the underdog. Like, right. To be very honest. But like I said, those bigger numbers, the 17.5s, 20.5s, 24.5s, 23.5s. I'm like, I try to get to those, what we call in the business, the football numbers, which means 7, 10, 3s. You multiply out that. All right, we're going to take one more game. And then before we do so, though, don't forget, use that promo code 3day10 to get 10% off. So you can get either one of our plays for today. Griffin has both UFC, college basketball and college football today. So
Yep.
get that a 3-day 10, go to the grid and get in on that. Save you $30 for a day pass or $99 for a week pass for any of our sports. That will work. I have 4 plays up in college football. I only have college football today. A 7-unit play goes 7 or 7:30, that time slot there. So Eastern time, that is. So make sure you check that out. All right. Let's take one more game here. Let's see if anybody has any comments. I don't think Hope has found Jesus game day since he saw it. Yeah. I mean, I cannot believe I'm not in town because I'm in town every other weekend to see my daughter. And it just happened to be, what is it this weekend? And I'm going to be there for the holidays. So I couldn't be there like 2 weeks in a row. So
Gotcha.
made it tough. But I want to take one more game here. Duke, North Carolina. Like Duke has to be the best team that's not bowl eligible right now. I mean, think about it. 2 weeks ago, they played UConn. They were coming off that big win. And it's like, dude, they just need one more win. All of a sudden, it's like now, I forget, they have a pretty tough game next week. If they somehow lose at North Carolina, which these rivalry games, they play at Wake, or they have Wake at home next week. Wake's been really good. You imagine Duke go from where they were to not bowl eligible in like a 3-week period. Do they get it this week? Because North Carolina was not good last week, by the way.
It's another one of those games, Craig, where it's another 6.5 line and they're baiting you. This could very well be a market wipeout attack play with North Carolina coming straight up and getting the win outright, which it would surprise me. Coming off of last week against a not good Wake Forest team and getting blown out, and then Duke in their most recent matchup, they lost their game against Virginia, and that was in a 34-17 final. Situational spot here. Duke on back-to-back road games. North Carolina at home in this one. And in their most recent matchup, they're kind of in a sandwich spot going back and forth. Just due to the line. Give me North Carolina plus the 6.5 points. Just the line itself.
I love Manny Diaz as a coach. He's one of those guys. This is the fun of sports betting is like, dude, he's great as an underdog. But as a favorite, dude, I love betting against him. Like, you know what I mean? But, what is wrong with Belichick, first of all? I mean, seriously.
Dude, all of it, man.
The showing up at your girlfriend's cheerleading competition, like, come on, guy. I mean, you're trying to support her. I get it. She shows up for your stuff, but like, first of all, you're dating a girl that's, I mean, what's he, 75 and she's 30 something? I mean, like,
no, she's like 25. She's younger than me.
Is she 25?
She's like 25. I'm pretty sure she's like 5 years younger than me. She's still, I think, a student or just graduated.
It definitely,
have you seen the pictures? It's so, it don't look right, man. It don't look right.
It's. I don't understand it. But she's like literally taking his like, like his powers. It's like she's his kryptonite all of a sudden. All of a sudden he can't freaking, get his players. I still think if the right NFL job, the Giants are like, we're not really interested. Bullshit. If the Giants pulled up a Brinks truck, I think he would leave, and I think they would love to have him. So though there's maybe some interest there. He's got to get back to NFL because trying to get these college kids to care like he did in the NFL has not worked. Even though there was a 4-week stretch where they had 2 terrible losses. I think it was Virginia and Stanford. They could have won those 2 games. They would already be bowl eligible, and this team would be looking at a different spot. But then last week, he called a timeout at Wake Forest last week. Wake Forest was like, hey, we're going to not run this in on the goal line. He called a timeout, so Wake Forest was like, all right, motherfucker, we're going to go score on you. And they did. The next play, they scored. And that got the over, by the way. So there were some people that were not so freaking happy if you had the under.
Oh, man.
But I think Duke kills him this week. Even though I'm usually, here's almost always how I play Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz as a favorite, fade. Manny Diaz as an underdog, bet. That's like almost like it. Go back and look at his last 20 games. You'd make a lot of money if you did that. But I don't know. Belichick.
This is one. There's better value out there than this game. Unless you're a fan.
Someone said she sucked the mojo. She's sucking something. I'll just say that. I mean, at 20-some years old, she better be sucking something.
Scott, I would take it all day, every day, brother. Every day. Doesn't matter. I'm with them, Bill. I'm with you, Bill.
The difference is we're not necessarily out there on the sideline with her like sitting like as we're running off the field and she's sitting there ready to hug us, like I would keep her in the back. I'd be like, listen, stay up in the suite, come down so we don't like put this out there, so that because social media is like freaking brutal,
Mm-hmm.
like brutal. But I will say most 5-year-olds that are single would probably date her. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Especially,
I'd hide her a little bit better, but yeah.
I mean, it's like I think I would just probably try to hide it on social media a little more. That she's pushing it out there, that's surprising because remember Belichick would be like, leave your phones at the door, no social media, no talking to the media, so that he went and got somebody that literally is trying to like get this on social media every second of the day.
Yep.
Makes like it. I guarantee there's like the Randy Mosses and the Brady's. I'm like, dude, this is not the Belichick.
What the hell are you doing, man? Literally.
Yeah. NFL tomorrow. I've got 3 plays tomorrow. I think it's a decent card. I always say this is be careful week. So I didn't have a 7-unit this week. I have a 6-unit and like a 4 and a 2 or something like that. Because a lot of teams, there's 8 teams that either play on Thursday or Friday next week. So you have a lot of teams that are looking to that, like it's a very, very tough spot. So if you are looking at those teams, make sure you know first and foremost who plays Thursday and Friday, and be careful on those teams. That's just like a word from us experts to you. Is there anything out there that what's your top play tomorrow? Like a 7-unit?
I have a 6-unit top play in the NFL that goes off at 1 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's just a word to advise doing this. We used not have to worry about it because it used to be 2 games. There would be the Detroit game, the Dallas game, and that was it. So you had 4 teams. You could basically handicap around those. You just maybe either fade those teams or you just stay away from them. You can't do that anymore because there's 3 Thursday games and now there's a Friday game as well. So, you can't just not play all those teams. It would leave you very few games left to handicap, especially since a lot of us don't play a lot of the Thursday games. So it's like now you take away 2 more Thursday games for this week. So be careful there this week. But big holiday week. If you get in right now, you'll get the week pass. If you get in on the month pass, or you can get the rest of the season, I think they got that discounted right now. So make sure you check that out. I do believe this will work for that as well. This 10% off code 3day10. If anybody else has a question in the comment, put it in the comments. Joey B, is it Turkey? Joe? I'm guessing that's
Turkey
Joey
Thursday,
Burrow.
Thanksgiving.
Joey
right?
Burrow. Joe Burrow is a Turkey Thursday. Is
He's playing, dude. I think he's playing.
I don't know.
Flacco is not projected to play anymore. Doesn't make sense.
As a Bengal fan, I don't know what we're doing here. There has to be 0% chance of injury for him to play, in my opinion. Like, hey, if he plays this week or next week, it doesn't really matter. There's no greater risk of him re-injuring. If that's the case, I'm totally okay with him.
What do the Bengals got? 3 wins on the year? 4. What's the record? They got 3. Like they're not even in it. I wouldn't even play them.
Someone's like, well, remember Chase is out
They're
this
3
week.
and 7.
The Chase is out this week for the spitting incident, so he's out. People do respect it because I think the line was like 8.5, 9. Right now it's 8. This is a very good New England team, though. I would not want to be facing that defense if I'm Joe Burrow. My first game back, I'm like, ugh. Who do they play next week? Is that what he's saying? Do they play on Thursday? I didn't think they play on Thursday next week.
Who's that? Are we talking about the Bengals?
The Bengals play Baltimore next week at Baltimore on the 27th. So that is a weekday game, right? That is the Thursday. Yes, it must be the Thursday. They're the Thursday night game.
1 hour ago, Craig. Joe Burrow will not return versus the Patriots.
Great.
And Joe Flacco is not playing either.
So they're playing Browning, Jake Browning, then.
Oh God. Okay.
I have a play in that game on a team total, FYI. So if you buy my pass, you'll get the team total. I have a pretty strong opinion. So make sure you jump in on that. If you buy the football pass, FYI, and you buy the week pass instead of the day pass or the single play today, you actually get both. You get the NFL as well from either one of us. So make sure you take advantage of that. All right. Someone had one last question here. I think Joe, you have to no. Griffin says no. He says neither one of them are playing this week. Or I'm guessing
that's what I just read right now. Burrow will not be returning against Patriots, and Flacco is currently projected as not playing.
He has a shoulder injury, Flacco does. So that would be, I think, the risk there. So that means it would be Jake Browning, I'm guessing, which, he wasn't good. He was good last time he filled in for Joe Burrow. It was not good this year. All right, everybody, thanks again for joining us. If you haven't done so, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It does, tell everybody that, hey, you're listening in, tells our bosses that we're doing our job. And then make sure, if you haven't used that free $60 account, it's a great way to test us out. DocSports.com/free60. And yes, you can use this towards our best bets. So, best bet today, $30. You could get both for our best bets. Mine goes at 7 to 7:30. I forget which one it is. And yours goes, you said at 3:30?
3:30.
3:30. So
3:30.
Get them both. Use this right here and use $30 on each of us. And hey, parlay. You don't see me say it very often. Parlay them together. How about that?
Let's roll.
All right, guys. Thanks again, Lenny, for having me fill in for you. I like anytime I can hang out with Griffin. We got to get Griffin and Nick and me back together because we started the Docs Daily, and then we kind of I don't know how we got all separated, but we need like a once a month where it's like
Three Musketeers, man. We were running it. We were running it, man.
The reunion needs to happen. Like reunion Tuesdays is Tony. Maybe like reunion Thursdays or something.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm
Fridays. In. All right, guys. Have a great day. Good luck to you. Hope all your bets are winning ones, and good luck.